Hey, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever time you're watching this, as always, thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. Man, it's been one crazy week for me, crazy weekend. I missed Friday's live stream, so sorry about that, everybody. Sorry. Oh, man, I was installing an air conditioner Friday. I was in like a 160-degree attic all day. It was brutal work. I had to disassemble all the ductwork, all the venting, disassemble it. I had to pull the old coil case. I had to separate it from the furnace. It's all like glued and gunked on, and put the new one up there. I had to weld up there, all in like a 160-degree attic. You can only do 10 to 20 minutes at a time, or you can end up passing out and dying. Pretty crazy. So, hope you guys had a good weekend. Because then after that, Saturday or Sunday was up at McClure all day in 111, 112-degree weather, installing another air conditioner. So that was also very fun. But hey, that's part of the job, Work hard, play harder. So here we are to enjoy the live stream. I got a good one for you guys tonight, guys and gals. I think we're going to cover some actual cool topics. We might learn a little tonight, and I'm even going to learn some. I think I did a little bit of reading before tonight's video, so that I could make sure that I knew what I was talking about. And the topic was on a subject that I always blab about because I have my own observations, right? So we're going to get into that tonight. What's new? How's it going, Charles? Oh, man, dude, Casper just drop kicked me right in the chest right before the show started. So that jerk, he's out of the room right now, hanging in the corner. Smash the like button if you guys get a chance. Thanks for watching. So tonight's video, as always, we're going to chill, have a good time, hang out, and have fun. But I've got two big topics I want to talk about. One, do bass see color? And, like all the different factors and what goes along with that. Is color important in lure choice? Kind of obviously goes along with that. And then what lures catch big bass? So you guys have heard me harp on big bass fishing, night fishing, and what lures, but we're going to kind of recap it, talk all about that. And then we're going to look at it with a reference to color and what that means, in my opinion, right? And there's been studies on it. So we'll look at what the studies say. We'll look at what the pros say. And I'll know, I've got my own experience on what I've caught some double digits on, what my buddies have caught double digits on, the colors, the sizes, all that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get into all that and have fun. So thanks for watching my Common Sense Fishing family. Hope you guys are having an awesome Monday. Like I said, it's been a real struggle of a weekend for me. I've been installing air conditioners all weekend, and my body is just beat up bad. So I'm super tired. Apologize for missing Friday's live stream. And I'm going to try to squeeze some fishing in here sometime this week. Me and Charles are trying to set up a trip to go fishing. I'm going to take a good friend's son fishing, try to get him out and get him hooked into the game of fishing, and get him, take care of him like that for a day. And because it's a friend I've known since high school, and she wants to like keep her son out of gangs and drugs and stuff like that. And he's like at that critical age, and he's like right at 18 or about to be 18, I think, like 17 or 16. And so she wants me to take him out. Like, he likes fishing but hasn't really done very good. So hopefully we're gonna go out there and just put the young man on just like a fishing frenzy and have him just merculate it, have him fun driving the boat, let him try to troll the motor for a little while. Just hopefully the main thing is get him hooked in the game of fishing. I had the love of fishing. So we're going to take him out sometime this next week if I can. We're going to record all that. So, and I'm like, doing it just for the, fact that I want to try to help a young man out. So it's not part of the toy drive or anything like that. And since she's a good friend from back in the days, we're going to go ahead and do that, take her kid fishing. So got some cool stuff coming up. I got to take a breather, just relax, take a day or two off. I've been working the weekends. Looks like I'm gonna have to work next weekend. So, or this weekend. So, yeah, sometime this week we're gonna have to have some fun. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's tough. It's super hardcore, but that's why I was thinking, man, you know what? I would be down to go fishing tonight, but we got to do the live stream. And then after the live stream, I could roll, but it's like, man, I still would probably have to leave by like 3 o'clock because there's a customer who I forgot about. And it wasn't an emergency. It's for a leaky faucet. And I'm not a plumber, but I know how to do certain things. And he wants me to service his AC when I go there, anyways, and fix his leaky faucet, hopefully. And I told him, most likely, if it's been there for a while, now all of a sudden it's leaking your cartridges. You want to get your gaskets. So let's just buy a whole new, little cheap little faucet setup. So I'm going to go over there and take a look at what he's got. Head down to probably a local little hardware store, swap his faucet out for him. So anyways, long story short, I've been promising this guy that I'd go take care of that. And it's not an emergency, but so I don't want to like just push him away any further. He's a good dude, been a good customer. And anyways, I just try to treat everybody right. So I got to get to his house at like 9 in the morning, at least between 8 and 9. And he's almost like an hour drive from me. Means I got to leave here by 7 to 8. Means I got to be up by 6 to 7 o'clock in the morning. And if I get home at 4 in the morning and I've got to work in 100+ degrees heat with only 2 hours of sleep, that's a little tough. So I do it I've done it a couple times, and it's just like the next day I'm dead. There's no fishing. There's usually not even work. I just don't schedule nothing, and I just sleep on my face all day. But hey, I'm glad I have that ability. I don't, kind of work for myself. I don't have a boss except for myself, the wife, the family. Got to pay bills, so I got to work. But at the same time, I could just go chill and just go to sleep, take a nap in the middle of the day. There has been a couple times when it's like 100-degree weather and I'm super busy. I just come home, take a shower, relax for like a half hour, get myself like mentally fit again, and boom, it's like you're woke back up and you're going at another day of work. So I'll work 12 to 14 hours a day sometimes in this heat. I'll go out 7 in the morning, come home at midnight sometimes. So it's fun, kind of, but it's rewarding, and it's challenging, and it's something unique. Each job's different. Every day is different. So a lot of cool stuff. But anyways, about tonight's topic. You guys ready to get into some bass fishing talking? And of course, I got to go over a couple of little channel updates. So we had the giveaway, the raffle, not the giveaway, but the raffle. And we had our 3 winners. So I'm going to be shipping because of my, if any of you guys are watching, because of my schedule, I'm going to probably be shipping those Friday or Saturday. So I'm just holding on to them. Everybody's going to have their stuff coming. Now, for the 1,500 sub and the other one on Bass Fishing Lovers, I think we're going to close those probably by this Friday or this weekend, and then we'll run the giveaways live probably the week after. So pay attention for those two. Those two will be closing. Like I said, we like to leave them up and running for a while. I'll probably repost the video on Facebook and a couple different pages, so people just don't forget. But anyways, you guys ready to talk about some cool bass fishing stuff? Do bass see color? Does color matter? And how does it work, right? So I don't know if you guys know how our eyes work, rods and cones, what sees what, how we see. I don't know if you're aware, we can see a lot of different colors, right? But technically, we only see 3. So we see a variation of 3 different colors as humans. Fish, well, not fish, but bass only see 2. Now, they don't just see 2 colors. That means they see 2 color spectrums. So they see this color, any blend, mix, or cross in between the two colors, and anything you can cross and create with those colors, right? So that whole blend and spectrum. And it's two specific colors. Now, humans, like I said, we have three. So you look and think about all the different colors that we can see, seeing only three colors because we see all their blends and shades and possible creations, right? If you look at a color wheel, it all starts with three colors. The primary, or the whatever they're called, and then you get your tertiary, right? I think that's what it's called, where you go, you got your primary colors, and then if you mix these two, you get this one. If you mix these two, you get this one. If you mix these two, you get this one. If you mix these two, then, you know, and it just expounds until you have all these different thousands of colors, the more you mix stuff, right? And the more possibilities it gets. But if you boil them to the simplest form, they're all the basis of three different colors. So humans, we see red, we see green, and we see blue. Those are the three primary colors. Now, when you, if I remember correctly, so, and fish, they only see red and they see green. That's it. But they see colors in those spectrums, which includes orange, yellow, and even, you know, lots of different colors that go in those spectrums. I think, let me pull it up and see. Basically, it's going to be like some mostly green, yellowish, orangish, red. Those are going to be the colors that bass can see pretty much. So, and yeah, red, yellow, blue is human's eyes. There we go. Bass are red and green. Sorry, and they only see those two spectrums, red and green. And what they did is I read a study, and I can read it back to you guys, but we're going to talk about some fishing stories and personal experience to kind of back this up. But what they do see, you know, I've said a lot of times, and you can look back at any of my videos, is bass can see shades. So, and they also mistake shades for other colors. So they did a really intense study on bass and training them to eat, to feed if they attack specific colors, right? To see like what can bass see, what can they go after, right? And they did all these different colors. They did like clear, white. They did, you know, pinks and reds and browns and green. They did all these different colors, right? And the bass were trained to attack. Now, what they'd notice is only two colors bass had a high percentage of attacking, and they were red and green. So if it was a red color, they attacked it over 80% of the time correctly. If it was green, it was over 75%. So in that study, red dominated green as far as in the spectrum. But then what they found is they would say, okay, there's many different shades of red, many different shades of green, many different blends between those, like yellows, right, and chartreuches and oranges and almost like pinks. Like you can get a lot of different colors by mixing those two, right? Not pink, but you can get like certain different ones. And so they found that bass would attack all those colors very high percentage of the time if it was between the red and green spectrum. And then they also found, okay, so you had light red, dark red, right? And they found that like sometimes, for example, bass would attack when they were looking at other colors. So not like in comparison to red or green, but when they were looking at things like blues, purples, whites, and like all kinds of, and black and all kinds of other stuff like browns and orange. No, I don't think they did orange, but I can reread the thing. They did specific colors, and they found that the bass only hit it 30% of the time, right? So if they were trying to be trained to eat, to be fed, if they attacked a certain color, they could never well, it's not that they could never, but they weren't very efficient at being trained to eat blue or purple or other certain colors. But what they found is that if it was, say it was blue and black, they found that the bass like almost couldn't tell the difference between the two. So if you added, it was 30 something percent for one, 38 or something percent for another. But when you added them up, it was almost the same percentage as for the red and the green. And it was interesting. It was showing and that the researchers were saying, well, that they can see shades, right? So they found that when bass eat white, they were particularly in the green spectrum, right, where they would hit chartreuse. So if they were trying to, and not green, but like a chartreuse, where, like I said, it would be maybe a 35-40% they would hit it. Um, like in the spectrum, because they had different variations that they liked, right? But red and green were their two hot colors that they could see clear as day, red and green. So within the spectrum and the colors in between, they had different variations, right, on the bass's success at attacking targets for food. And the study, though, was done in clear water. So if they did it in darker water, I think shade would have played an even more important role. But what they found was, like, the bass would hit things like white and chartreuse together, like they couldn't tell the two apart. Bass would hit things like blue and black together, like they couldn't tell the two apart, and certain shades. So to me, that would indicate that something like a dark brown would probably be mistaken by the bass as the same exact thing as a dark blue, a black, or a very dark purple. And then if you had light colors, right, a light brown, almost like like a watermelon green, certain colors. I think you can lump all those into like a similar category because shade also plays an important factor. So like if you have dark red, like the color of this jig skirt right here, the bass right here might see this and see red, right? And see this head and see red, but it may see this as just pure black. Like you see how that's pure black, but this is red and black. Bass can see red really good. So this may be a pretty cool lure to throw, and it is Bijan's jigs. I throw them a lot at night, and I think this is where I think shade really plays an important. But this excuse me, got a little close to the microphone. But this right here, you see that? That's like in the green spectrum. This is a PB&J lure. So this head being dark purple like this is going to be, in my opinion, like a non-color, like it's all black. Like, if you ever seen a black and white video, or if you ever seen that movie where everything's in black and white, and then as they start to live and experience things, color starts to come into their life. I imagine it like that, but only reds and greens exist, and then everything else is shades like black and white, right? Light and dark. And so I would imagine that this head to a bass probably looks no different than a dark black, a dark blue. It's a dark head. The bass cannot distinguish that that's purple. Like this brown right here is the same thing. Probably it's going to be like a lightish color. Like it might get mistaken for white or chartreuse, but this is kind of like a greenish brown, so it might stand out. But this crawdad, on the other hand, is green. The bass should see this clearly as green. It shows, like I said, that their studies show that they can see for sure green and red, right? So other than that, I think shade is super important. Hence why, so we'll explain. I've been fishing with people a lot of times. We used to go to Kelsey, do other stuff, and I'd be on a Cinco bite or a jig bite, and I would actually insist on changing colors every fish I caught, just to kind of rub it in, or not even rub it in, but to teach her, to show, like, look, don't buy into the color scheme too much. And I've always thought this in my mind, and I've always thought that it was also very important that you worry about shade more. Like is it a dark color, a light color? So for example, in daytime, I think you're going to want to fish something like this, when the fish can see green, or you may even want to fish a bright red one at, like, say, the Delta, where it's dirty water and you want them to see it. Like, you may not even want much black in it. And that's also why chartreuse is, in my opinion, such a killer color. Bass, obviously, according to these studies, see red and green. So depending on when I'm fishing, so I'd probably throw green in the daytime too, right? Because that's something that unless it's a really dark shade of green, right? The bass probably aren't going to see it too well at night. However, being a fool, I'm sure plenty of people have caught fish on green lures at night. That's why my point is I don't think color. So we're going to get to the conclusion of my statement here. I don't think color really plays a big role. I know people don't want to hear that. I don't think fishermen all have their own color scheme, and we're going to talk about some stuff here. I think guys will go out and they'll throw every color in their bag, right? And then they won't be doing good. And then they'll put on the magic worm. And then like all of a sudden they start catching some fish on that. And then they go other places where they didn't catch them on the other worms or whatever have you. And then they start whacking fish and they swear it's the color, right? Next thing you know, the partner ties it on and he catches them. I don't know if you've ever had stories like that. But in my opinion, if you've ever experienced something like that, it's more than likely you went across the correct shade. You found whether they wanted a dark lure or a light lure, realistic dark colors, light colors, again, in that which part of the spectrum, red or green, but also again, what part of the shade spectrum, so light or dark, right? And then again, I also think it's also important that you, let's say you may have been fishing a certain way, and you may not have realized it, but if you self-analyzed or if you watched video of yourself, you may have in expectations of having a good day and having fun. You may have fished too fast, right? And then after 4 hours of not catching any fish and cycling through your colors, and you put a certain color on, and all of a sudden, because after 3 hours your board is shite and you're almost dead sticking or dragging it, and now, you start getting them all of a sudden, and you attribute it to color. I don't know. My point is, I think a lot of the times there's a famous saying, I forget which one said it, which Bass Pro said it, but don't give these little fish too much credit. They're just little itty bitty, they're just little fish with little itty bitty brains. They have instincts, they're animals. If you learn their behaviors and you kind of try to just study them and figure them out, there's like a code you can crack the better you get at it. And I'm not saying I'm even that good. I like reading and paying attention to things, and I'm still learning too. So it's cool. Like before I do these live streams, I'll get up and I'll read a couple of articles to make sure I know at least somewhat what I'm talking about. I could be wrong reading an old one or just discussing an old video, but most of the stuff I talk, though, regardless of that, is my fishing experience, right? Because that's what I always like to say. I'm no pro, I'm no guide, but I have been fishing almost 30 years, and I've had a good time and had some fun doing it. I'm not rich. I never made any money doing it, right? I'm not no pro like that, but I've had, some double digits. I have a lot of friends who have had them, and we've caught a lot of fish over 5 pounds. And, some days suck, some days don't. But, in that being said, is like, I feel like I wanted, I got some cool fishing stuff I think I can share with the community. And a lot of it is based on my own experience, let's say, right? Not just what the pro here said or what the study here said, but it's cool to have the stuff backing it up where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. And so, that it was cool to read that and basically see that, yeah, I think in my opinion, bass see shade. So like if you swear up and down, like say you're using a clear worm that's like almost like salt and pepper, just glass clear, and it almost looks like nothing, but there's little flakes in it, and it's maybe a little translucent, got a little white or something in it. I think that and that really light pink, almost see-through color with a really light blue see-through color is on. Well, you got to see. I think that's a difference there, because I've noticed sometimes the pink worm does outdo the blue worm, and they have shown bass don't see blue, not very well. So blue, they can see it, but it stands out as a shade. So you got to think that when they see colors, right? Like to us, what black and white would be if you're watching a black and white video. That's what most other colors are to bass. It's just simply shades. But the two true colors that they can see with high probability that we understand is red and green. And so again, like I said, that's just pretty cool, because I've gone out on fishing trips, and like I said, I've cycled through worms, And there's been the same times, like people, like I really love the Robo Worm, the Margarita Mutilator, or the Morning Dawn. Morning Dawn, I think it is the pink one, right? And then there's the pink one with the yellow tip, right? Now you got to understand, yellow is in the Bass's spectrum that it can see, and so is the pinkish red because it's in the red spectrum. So it's when you get into purples and blues and whites and certain colors that to me they just show up like black almost, or just like a non-distinct color, like it's just blah to them, and it's either dark or light at that point. And studies have pretty much shown this, right? So using a white lure is the same thing as using like a translucent, or certain lures. At least that's been my opinion, and my experience has pretty much backed it up. So there'll be times when they're really on a craw bite, a hot red bite. There'll be times when they're on a dark bite where you could throw a dark brown, a dark green, a dark blue, a dark whatever, as long as the lure was just dark in color. Then they've been on that light bite where they really wanted or were keyed in on something shiny, white, silver, translucent, light colored, pink, light purples, right? Light certain variations, not really bold colors per se, So, and fishing's been like that. So anyways, I thought they would be a cool subject to open up tonight's video with, is I read an article on it, and we're going to read a little bit for you guys tonight, and then we're going to get into a discussion if you guys or gals are still here. I've seen that there's a few comments. We'll read them here in a second, but let's see here. Let's see here. All right, so we're going to start right here. So now, and this is just a recent article, by the way, now university researchers in Illinois and New York have found that largemouth bass eyes contain only two different kinds of cone cells, one that is sensitive to green and another that responds to red. Seeing Color Vision in the Largemouth Bass by L.D. Mitchum et al. So there's their quotation. Thus, bass have dichromatic vision and are responsive to a range of colors that is more limited than the array recognized by humans. Yes, it's no surprise that the bewildering multitude of lure colors we see in any tackle shop is designed to appeal to anglers as much or more than the fish they pursue. And let's see here. We'll skip past that part. All right, yeah, I think this is a cool part to read. So what do these results mean? The cellular composition of the largemouth bass's eye is tuned to respond to two colors, red and green. Bass can see these colors well and make decisions with high selectivity based on these colors. Outside of red and green, many dark colors appear quite similar to bass, which are unable to make highly selective decisions based on colors like blue and black. Likewise, bass cannot readily distinguish between very bright colors like chartreuse and white. Okay. Now, let's see here. Now, this is for one of the anglers, I think, who's writing the story. For me, these results will help to organize my bass lure collection into four basic colors: bright, white and chartreuse, green, red, and dark, blue, brown, and black. That white spinnerbait with a few chartreuse strands in the skirts is all white to a bass. And what about my collection of black and blue jigs? Might as well throw them in with the all blue and all black jigs, because to a bass, they likely all look the same, at least in terms of color. I think lures with obvious contrast between colors that bass can easily observe will remain important. Baits like red cranks, with black vertical bars or bright jerk baits with dark backs. So when you have contrast on the lure, right? So I'm jumping in there. But now every shade of blue and purple doesn't need to be stored separately. Science says bass like them all the same. Color is an obvious factor when choosing a lure. Let your experience be your guide, but listen to the science too. Bass see colors as bright, green, red, and dark. That's about it. And that's from the fishermen's and the researchers, and that's from their mouth. This is from Game and Fish. So they've got it boiled down to a science that basically, yeah, color is important, right? And so, but I think we give them too much credit, and then you can break them down into like they said, four distinct colors or categories, and I kind of agree. I think what you can do is put like the light blues, the light pinks, all that can go in the same categories, the whites and chartreuses, right? It's a light color that's not necessarily in their color spectrum. If it's red and green and just pretty obvious shade differences of those two colors, like light red, dark red, stuff like that, bass can see them exceptionally well. But as soon as you bust off of that and you get into, like, let's say pink, or let's say a combination of red and green or some kind of color, then the bass can't see that, right? So or then it starts to get put into that category of light or dark. So red or green, light or dark, and I kind of agree with that. And I would put maybe certain colors kind of together that maybe they wouldn't say, but in my mind, right, I would have put maybe a light red and a brown together or something, right? But and they say, right, that contrast. So maybe that also helps when you have that contrast. When you have something like, maybe to a bass, this looks like light with just dark, right? This is all light to a dark, or to a bass. This is all light to a bass, and then this is like dark, right? So it's got contrast in there. And this is one of my favorite lures. I do very well off of. So pretty cool stuff. I was reading that. I thought that was interesting because I felt for a long time now that color, it's important, but that it doesn't matter as much as we think it does, and not the individual little colors and little things as much. Yeah, they matter, but I'm just saying, like, they're fish. I think what's more important to me, I've always kind of broke it down into certain subset, and this I didn't go read or check about, so this is just my fishing experiences. I think it gets broken down into, you got to find where the fish are at. So you got to locate them. That's number one. What part of the lake are they in? What time of year is it? Where are they at? Where's the thermocline? Are they deep or shallow? What's going on with them? Some general basics. Just go find some fish, right? And then once you're where some fish at, and you're trying to catch them, then it breaks down to, do they want it fast? Do they want it slow? Do they want it a variation, maybe slow with jerks, fast with stops, stuff like that? Do they want a big lure, small lure? And do they want it shallow? Do they want it deep? Do they want it suspended or on the top? Those just few factors, I think. So you pull up on some bass. Are they on the deep point? Are they right up on the rocks, tucked up against shore? Or are they swimming around off the point, going back and forth? Or would they hit top water? And then are they parallel and right up against shore? Are they a few feet away? Are they backed out? Are they way offshore? So it's breaking it down into some very simple categories. If you can see what happens with me, folks, just so, well, why aren't you this ultra professional? Because, dude, I mean, honestly, I'm not talking to myself now, because I just go fishing for fun. I love it. I go out and I have a good time. So sometimes I'm just chill. I don't care if I'm even like, I know eventually I will. Or they'll be like, I'm fishing and I'm on a spot. I catch a few, boom, boom. And I know there's a pattern, right? And I see them, okay, I'm on a main lake point and there's some rocks. And then there's this stretch of like shitty shoreline for like a while. And then I see this point up ahead of me that's got the main lake rocks. And I know, okay, there'll be a fish or two off of that. What do? I just let the wind drift me along and throw lures at the shore. And half the time it sucks, and you don't catch anything. And then you get to that next spot, and sure enough, where you thought they'd be, there's some there. But I just don't care. I just have fun. I get out. I love being out and about in the, uh, outdoors and just having fun fishing. I do love catching fish. And that's the thing, is I know I'll never really get skunked. I'll catch a fish, but sometimes sometimes it's tough, right? Catching them, that's for sure. I've had some tough times, but it's usually not. It's usually because I'm not giving them enough different presentations, or I'm putting myself in a box. So I swear that they're going to bite this way, and then I run around the lake or the area or whatever, or motor around or trolling motor around, and I constantly throw just only 2 or 3 lures. Well, and then I struggle and I eventually catch a few. Well, had I done some different things, I might have had a much better day, right? So sometimes it's that I just like to get out and fish, right? And I think maybe some of us are like that. I don't know if some of you got, some of you guys and gals might be like that, is where fishing is for fun. It's for relaxation. And yes, I want to catch fish, but sometimes it's like I get in that chill, happy mood. Now, then sometimes I'm, like if you're tournament fishing, or if you're just like you haven't been fishing in a while, you're excited, or you've got a cool trip planned to a lake that there's big fish at. You get all gung ho, you got all your gear selected, your right rods and your right line and the right reels, because it is so important. Let me tell you right now, that fishing isn't luck. Not really, not at all. Because if you don't have the right line, the right reel, the right rod action, sure, you can still catch them, but you start really screwing up your chances of catching them when you do get that big one. You lose a lot of fish sometimes before you realize what you're doing wrong. So if you're going into a situation and you're all gung ho, and even when you're fun fishing, it's best to at least have your gear prepared, to have the right line on the right reels, on the right rod, the right action, stuff like that, right? But long story short, like I get out there and I just have fun fishing. So I like having a good time, but there are times where I get real competitive and I just want to go out there and destroy them. So I like to share that with you guys and gals. But I think we got to make sure, I don't know, that we don't overthink it, because I think sometimes we can put ourselves in a box, thinking that we have the right answer when maybe we need to just throw a few different things. And then it doesn't hurt to know this information, right? The bass see red and green. Maybe I'm going to throw some reds a lot more, or some greens a lot more, like actual pure green lures, or some chartreuse. I haven't thrown chartreuse in a while. So it'd be cool to start, getting out there, switching it up. And then as I do that, we'll start kind of maybe documenting a little bit, like what the better fish, let's say 3 to 5 plus pounds, are coming off of, and what color schemes when. And I might start trying to take like a little fishing journal, or at least go watch my videos afterwards, because you know how like sometimes, like every trip I'll at least catch a 2, 3, something like that. When I go to the Delta, sometimes we get a 4, sometimes we get a 5. I haven't had a good year this year on size. A couple of years back, we were catching 10s, 8s, 7s, 6s, 9s, you name it. We were just murking them left and right. Me and a bunch of buddies, Cincos, square bills, top water. We're just having a heyday with them. And I didn't have my GoPro back then, so sucks. But so this year got some decent fish. But the idea is go back, look at patterns, and try to put something together at the end of the year, or maybe 2 years of fishing, and look at what's the best fish came off of. And I could kind of, even off the top of my head, already tell you. But looking at all that cool stuff and analyzing fishing is fun too. So for those of you guys and gals who are like that, I get into that kind of stuff too. But I'm like a flip-flopper sometimes in that aspect. So like sometimes I'll just go fishing, and it's like I don't want to stress, I don't want to even think. I just want to go out and just wet my line, throw a jig or throw something, and I'm just dedicated. And if I suck all night or all day, whatever, especially night fishing, I do this because it's comfortable. It's not so hot out. There's no heat. There's no jet skiers. I don't like driving around at night. I don't want to smash into rocks or anything. So I'm content to just launch and start whistling and fishing, and I'm happily able to do that for 10, 12 hours plus, trust me, and just have a good time. And maybe not, not do that great, but sometimes that's how you catch double digits. That's how you catch mondos, taking your time, being thorough, or just like I did. I stuck to 3 different main patterns. They're big fish patterns, right? I'm gonna throw a jig, I throw a crankbait, I'm gonna throw top water, and I stuck to it, and I went and got a double digit. And then, after that, I've had a lot of hard times after the with the boat crash at the Delta. The boat takes water on, and I don't find a crack. There's nothing nowhere cracked. So I'm thinking that the impact jarred something loose with the hoses, the live well, something like that. Because I've had the hole inspected. We've looked at it, and short of, I had a buddy tell me just take it out into the street and get it level, and then actually just fill it up with water with the hose and put your plug in, and then see where the water comes out at. And he goes, if it comes out of your live well ports, you know that your leak is in the 2 holes in the back, where one the live well goes in, the other one the live well water goes out. Well, then you know that you have a leak in one of those tubes, basically, or something's come slightly disconnected or whatever. So another good news for everybody. Yeah, my boat's basically sinking every time I take it out. So I take it out, I go out and I fish and I have fun, but my boat, like every hour or two, I got to pump like 10 plus gallons of water out of it. And if I forget and I go like 3 or 4 hours, it's like 50 gallons, like a bathtub back there. And then, so always fun, something always coming up, right? Good old boat, bust out another 1,000. So I'm going to have to go figure all that out soon. There's just right now it's hectic, so I appreciate you guys and gals bearing with me, because summer is just crazy right now with doing the heating and air conditioning, and I'm trying to do a lot of fishing, trying to do a lot of stuff, but it's crazy juggling so much. And then the boat's like out of commission, kind of, but not really. Like we can still fish in it, but I have to like pump out water every once in a while. It just like sucks. I want a peace of mind. I don't like having water in my boat anyways, so I want to know where the hell it's coming from and get it fixed. So that's just one thing checked off my list. I can't even fish tournaments right now because the live well's not working. So I'm like, and it's tough getting a hold of anybody to fix it. Yes, I could do it myself, but honestly, I don't want to, because I just don't want to mess it up, and it's not my specialty. I do my heating and air. I don't like seeing other guys try to do heating and air when they're plumbers or when they're whatever electricians. You need to stay in your lane if it's a specialty, in my opinion. That's why, that's what those people are for. But the problem is finding a good boat mechanic right now can be tricky. So it's like, anyways, how's everybody doing? Flight issues? Oh goodness. That's why I'm waiting for our trip. Yeah, I'm trying to get everything fixed up. It's like, ugh, and summer, this stupid summer is like, oh, I love it as far as I'm getting a lot of work, but it's just interfering with my plans to have fun. Right? But hey, that's what work's about, right? You got to work hard, but then I play harder. So I go out there and I try to at least make sure I'm doing cool. So I've got a video if you guys are interested. I think I'm going to release it on Common Sense Talks. I'm not going to put it on this channel, but I recorded an entire HVAC install, how to braze, nitrogen brazing, high level stuff, electric stuff, breakers, conduit, and it's only like 45 minutes long. But I'm going to condense it probably down to about 30 minutes. I'm going to put that out on my other channel, Common Sense Talks. So I got that, and I've got another fishing video I've got to make. So Danny was, with me. We went to Kelsey, and we only got like 7 or 8 fish, so it'll probably be a short video. It was super tough for us, just because I know that a lot of the time the big ones in the summer are out in the weeds, and they're easy to get with Senkos and or like A-rigs and spinner baits. So you could just float around in circles and fish for them, and most guys will be beating the bank up. So like one group of dudes, they caught like 40 fish, but most of them were small, but they actually managed to catch some 3 and 4 pounders too. And we only got like 1 or 2 decent ones between the two of us. So it was like one of those decisions I was telling you guys about. It was hot, it was miserable. I wasn't really wanting to like smash around the lake and try to like fish hard. So I just chilled and threw my Cinco, and I missed about 10 fish. That was another reason. So that trip I didn't have my gear set up right. And on what we did is we took a halftime and we went and ate. And I called it. I said, my stupid crap. So I switched my reels and put the reel that had the right line, the right stuff, and switched them over and went and caught a few and then took off because it was like 105, 106 that day. So we got another little video coming up, but gonna put that one out soon. So I've got a couple things. Looking at hopefully a couple of trips here soon. Toy drive trip hopefully coming up next week. So we'll see how that goes. So it's like, sometimes it's hard to get out and just pick a lake and go fun fish too. So I'm going to record, what I can with the next 2 or 3 adventures we have coming up. I'm also going to start trying to take a bunch of stuff out with me and then shoot 5 or 10-minute videos out at the lake and break one lure down at a time, or maybe 2 or 3 or 2 lures or a couple colors, and then do maybe 7 to 10-minute videos that are about the jig, that are about the square bill, that are about this or that, and then kind of just unleash how I fish them, and then with some video of me actually doing it, how I work it, and then hopefully we'll catch some fish doing that too. So that way the video is not necessarily going to be an action-packed like 20 fish video where I go out and kill it all day, because it will be, but instead of like wasting all that in one video, right, what you do is you go out on a day to the Delta, to wherever, to New Maloney's. Yeah, it was super hot, right? Yeah, and we go out there and then we take an hour or 45 minutes and we specifically shoot throwing topwater, and we do some how-tos. We throw some different sizes, throw maybe some different types, and show you guys tips and tricks on what line to use, how to work them, what rods we'd use, and hopefully catch a few fish, right? And then put, that's an hour there. You put your stuff away, boom, and then you re-record. Let's say the next hour of the day you're going to square bill, because one thing I've also noticed about fishing a lot is you can go all day and throw the same lure, and what'll happen is usually you'll catch fish for a while and then not catch fish for a while, then you'll catch fish and then you won't. But if you change up as the fish change up, you can a lot of the time maintain catching fish. So you can go through and throw a square bill and you might pick 5, 6 fish off, and then go through a different area and the square bill bite dies. Put that square bill down, pull up a Ned rig, and might catch 10 more. And then when that Ned rig bite dies, you might start catching some topwater fish. So if you're adapting as the conditions change, you can usually up your chances of catching bigger and more fish, right? So that's the name of the game, trying to get better at it. And again, I suck sometimes at that because I'm too happy, too lazy, too chill. I'm just just that's me sometimes. And then the other time, like I said, I'm flippy floppy like that. Sometimes I'm gung ho, go hard, like, let's go get them. So it just really depends on my mood, what we're doing. Like tournament fishing, I get excited, I get all into it, I'll have everything all prepared. And then sometimes I'm just lazy fishing. And believe it or not, lazy fun fishing, they either suck, where I don't do that good. Hence, like Charles Chalk trip and we went out to Pedro and I lazy fished and I struggled. I got like 6 or 7 fish or something. It was super tough, but we had fun. And then like me and keeping a reels trip out of Kelsey, like I struggled to even catch fish. He outfished me, and that's my lake. It's just I was lazy and chill, and I just didn't care because that's how I was, fishing that day. And sometimes that can bite you in the butt, but then there's days where that's really paid off for me, where I'm just chilling and I'm laughing and I'm just tearing it up, catching like 4 or 5 pounders. Well, I've got like my beer and my pole's out and I cast it, and then I just set it down and I start chugging my beer, and then I notice my line smash. I'm catching. That happened to me 2 or 3 times out at Kelsey, something like that. I dead sticked it and my line just starts swimming off, and I got a fish for sure. And I set the hook and nothing, because the rod that I was using was just way too stiff. And and just ripping the hook right out the mouth. And one, I set the hook on and I felt like I almost pulled my shoulder out of socket. I was like, bam, and it was like felt like I was setting into a damn car or a tree or something, and it pulled back and popped right off. Thump. Like, damn, I didn't even get the. And then I get my lure in, the hook's not even exposed. I'm like, damn, rod, because I was being lazy and I wasn't using the right rod. And I called it too. I said, I'm using the wrong rod. And then I think I continued to be lazy. That's why I only caught like 3 or 4. But hey, live by the sword or die by the sword, right? So that's why I always sprinkle the truth in there. As far as I always tell the truth, but I mean I sprinkle in like stories about how sometimes I suck too, because like I don't want to come off like I know it all. I don't want to come off like this is the way you have to fish. But the thing is like, this is the way I fish. And it's cool. Everybody fishes different. I think the cool thing is when you can take little things from other people and incorporate them into your fishing, and makes you better. Because when I see somebody doing something that I don't do, I'm like, wow, I'll start doing that right away because I'm a jealous fisherman. I want to catch fish too. So, but anyways, so I think we can conclude that, to me, I think, and I don't know about you guys and gals, color does matter, but it's not as important as we think, in the fact that like a lot of times bass will lump certain colors in together, and they're almost undistinguishable, right? So there are certain categories of colors, and then they do matter. And I think also a very important, shade matters. So, and then contrast, like they were saying, right? Like we got the chartreuse, but then we got black vertical lines. And they show that the fish, we were reading that study, they show the fish react really well to that contrast as well. So there are a couple of factors the fish really keyed in on: red, green lures, and then light or dark lures. And then they were all kind of bundled together. So I think that was pretty interesting, but I've always kind of felt that way. So I think we give them too much credit. In my opinion, it's more behavioral and instinctual. So I think we really got to figure out what the bass like are wanting, as far as like how big, how small, how fast, how slow. Are they top water? Are they chilling in the weeds? You got to punch, or do you got to drag something, drop shot, or are they super lazy and finesse smacked on the bottom, and anything moving too fast, they're not going to hit. You throw a crankbait at them, they're not going to hit it. But if you drag a jig slowly in front of their face, or Ned rig or drop, so it's just figuring out speed, depth, and size is super important to me. Those are like, to me, the extremely important factors, because sometimes to catch fish, it seems like they want stuff moving really fast. And almost it's like at that point, it doesn't matter the color. It's just the object has to be darting and moving. And so then there's times where it seemed like they wanted it dead sticked, and it wasn't really much about the color as much as it was the presentation. And I've had color really matter. But again, like I said, I think what the study shows is that color can and does matter, but that I think it's more meant to sell us than it is the fish, and that also that I think color can be broke down into like those 4 uh, specific categories: red and green, light and dark. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's go ahead and get into our discussion. Like always, I ranted and raved on our first story about, color and doesn't matter. And I wanted to make sure we're kind of doing educational stuff on the channel and helping out and trying to really, talk about fishing stuff. But, we also have a good time here, and have a cool community. So you guys, if you have any questions, any comments, any things you guys want to talk about, feel free. But once we're done here in a second, we're also going to talk about what are my favorite lures to catch big fish on. And if you guys have any questions or anything, like I said, shout them out. So thanks for watching Common Sense Fishing. Smash that like button if you guys get a chance. Thank you again for watching. So again, sorry I missed Friday. In a recap, we're going to be having the giveaways close probably sometime next week for bass fishing lovers, and for the 1,500 sub giveaway. So, make sure you guys go get on that if you haven't already. And if you're wondering when they're going to be, just so you know, they're probably going to be closing them next week, which means the week after or something like that, or closing them, maybe this weekend and then running it the week after. So keep your notification bells checked. And the three prizes, I'm actually going to be mailing them all out. So we're going to be doing the the lure packs. I'll be sending those out. If you were a winner, you can expect that I'll probably be sending those Friday or Saturday, just because of my schedule and how busy I am right now. So I think it's a great shape worm, but I think that plays into shade. So, like you said, I'm a real big fan of the Margarita Mutilator. And if you look at it like one of like the really nice purple worms, that's a really darker worm though still. So think about what other colors might match a Margarita Mutilator or Morning Dawn. I think it is right. If you look at those two colors and you find similar colors, I think they'll probably work just as well. But it's also the shade spectrum, right? So Morning Dawn and whatever, the two colors I'm talking about. They're, yeah, but light purples. If it's a dark purple, I think it falls into that black. It falls into that dark category. If it's translucent and it's like almost like a pinkish purple, I'm talking about, this so light you can easily just, like, it's not very dark. I think that's very similar to the same thing as that pink color. And then if you have a very light blue, that may go in there. But I think where blue stands out is bass. Again, I think blue might be in that same category, or either lumped in with like white. It's a light color if the shade is light, but if you have dark blue, then the shade of blue. You see what I'm saying? So the shade of the color, I think, would associate it with its spectrum on dark. So if the bass only see red and green, then if they're looking at something that's blue, and if it's sky blue, then it's probably going to look like whitish or light, right? If it's navy blue, then it's going to look black, right? So if it's royal blue, it may look like black. But then once you hit a certain line, it might start looking, like light. And then if you look at a old black and white video, not everything is just black and white. There's like shades of gray, and you know what I'm saying, to insinuate kind of color. And I assume that's how bass see. So that's why I think those shades are important. But that's where I think it boils down to the shade, not necessarily that color. So when you get guys that are like, yeah, it's water, it's green pumpkin, and then there's like a very similar color, that's like almost identical, I think they're gonna work just the same, or pretty dang close. I think a lot of it's your confidence, right? It's that magazine article greatly covered what I think what we all know is that lures, I think, are almost more designed to sell to us than they are the fish. So that's why I have a high degree of confidence fishing with almost anything. It just depends if they're on that kind of bite. So if I'm throwing a crankbait and I'm getting bit, I'll have a high degree of confidence that I can probably get bit. I don't like chatterbaits that much, but with a chatterbait, I have a very high degree of confidence. If I get bit on a crankbait, I could get bit on a spinnerbait. I have a very high degree of confidence. If I get bit on a crankbait, I probably can get bit on a jerkbait. I have a very high confidence that if I get bit on a jig, I can probably get bit on a Ned rig or on a drop shot or on a Texas rig. You see what I'm saying? Now, maybe there's going to be some differences where you might kill it with this over that, but I think that's where size comes in and maybe action. So if you have a thicker worm versus a skinny worm, like a shaky head and a drop shot, and the movement that they have underwater versus a big old Cinco or something that's, not as much action, and the profile is different, right? So sure, there will be lures that, in my opinion, definitely will outperform others. but in that color spectrum of what we're talking about, I think that's not as important. So of course, I think definitely lure design and size. So that all boils down into size, and then speed. So if you're bottom bouncing and I'm bottom bouncing, we're two guys fishing, and we're bottom bouncing around, and they're not very active, right? We didn't catch a bunch. They're not hitting reaction stuff, but we're catching, let's say, a few, right? And we just get there. We tried some top water, try some cranks. No, throw a jig, first cast, boom, fish. Oh, throw this. I have a high degree of confidence that you can catch them with almost anything bottom bouncer at that point. It's just mimicking the right speed and the right size of the bait. So if you're catching them on a jig like this, I think if you threw, say, a crawdad just like this without the skirt, and you threw it on, say, a swing head, a Ned rig, or you threw a slightly bigger one on a Texas rig, I think you're going to get bit just as much. I think you might have different hookup ratios. For example, if you get bit with a Texas rig and bass are short striking, you might not catch as many fish as me if I get bit on this and it's an open hook and I sting them right away. So, yes, again, I think lures matter, size matters, on speed matters, and depth matters, right? Where are they at? How fast do they want it? And I think color is least of my worries. Again, I think it boils down into four main kind of categories: light, dark, red, or green. And so, I've really felt that way. It was cool to read an actual. I don't, when I do, I read a lot of stuff, but sometimes I get burned out and I forget it, or just like you remember it, but it's like you don't remember where you read it or where you heard it from, and it's like that old wives' tale, or oh, they say in fishing this. You may have been sitting on a toilet one day reading a Bassmasters article where all the pros are talking about how to use a spinnerbait in the wind. So you get out on the lake and then your bottom bow and the wind picks up and you're like, aha, I'll throw a spinnerbait. It's because of stuff like that, right? It makes us who we are as fishermen and fisherwomen. So shades and shapes, yep, and speeds and depths. I think those are super, super important. That's why I think it's like, don't overthink it. Just, I think what you need to do is figure out the pattern. Because fish can be, especially bass, right? They can be tricky little boogers to catch sometimes. So I think what's more important, again, than being like, I'm on the hot color, brother. They're on green with black flakes, not green with red flakes. No, no, no. I think the more important thing was, what were you catching them on? Were you catching them on a jig? Were you catching them on the bottom? Or were you using a square bill? Or, what were you doing? Because then that technique, if it's producing, then it's producing, right? I think the color is important. But, it is important. But again, I might be wording it wrong. It's not as important as we think. I think, again, it is. But it's like, if you have two colors that are similar, I think the bass kind of see that as two colors that are similar, right? It's not like they can super run up to it and be like, this is fuchsia. I don't think I want to eat something fuchsia today, but this red lure looks, or whatever. I don't think it's that complicated. I think that's us being that complicated, if that makes sense. So boils down to figuring out their behavior. Are they slow? Are they lethargic and just laid on the bottom? Or are they kind of slowly swimming around on the bottom? Are they popped up off, just kind of chilling? Are they moving around, or are they busting and chasing? What's their behavior like? That'll tell you right away probably what you should be throwing at them. So stuff like that, I think, is super important. And time on water. If you want to get better, the more you fish, the better you're going to get. But, even when I'm having fun, and I'm being lazy, and if I have a night or a day where I totally suck at fishing, I'm always learning. I'm always paying attention to what did or didn't work, what I may or may not have done wrong, just for future references. And I almost always know what it is. It's usually when I have trips that don't go that great, it's usually because I'm just chilling and I'm just not really. It's not that I'm not trying hard. I'll fish really hard. It's just that I'm probably not in the mood to run, I guess you'd say. It might be something wrong with the boat, or I just maybe lazy. Um,
maybe with somebody and I'm not sure, and I just break a spot down and just go fish it. When I'm by myself and I don't have to worry about people or like trying to put people on fish, I can just go have fun. I don't know if you guys have seen it last year. I put out a ton of McClure and Pedro videos, and or was it the year before? And yeah, last year, because this channel's only so old. So I put out a lot of videos catching some 3 and 4 pound bass and 2.5, and lots of 12 to 14 pound bags out of McClure and Pedro on regular basis, even during the hard times of the year. 130 fish days, killing it out there. So, but this year has been more of a. I think I've been going after big fish more, so my numbers have been a little dwindling. I've got some big fish this year, but not as many as I'd want. It's kind of weird. Seems like I got like, that one giant this year and some nice ones, but everything else is like 5 to 3 have been all my good ones. Like, where's all the 7s and 8s that I usually get every once in a while sprinkled in, a 9 that almost pushes it, like what the heck? It's been one of those kind of weird off years where it's like, yeah, I've got a double digit. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun and got a lot of numbers, but it's weird. It's like there's usually more 7s and 8s and stuff, more fish over 6 pounds. But I think that has a lot to do with the water I'm fishing. I probably need to go fish the Delta a bit more. And also, I'm not trying to blame Virgil, but I'm always fishing in his neck of the damn woods. I'm like, we need to go fish where I know the Delta really well, like Lois Park, Buckley Cove, all that downtown Stockton, the rivers, all the little stuff over there. That's my stomping grounds. That's where I love fishing over there. And I can break that place down really well. But and it's not always where the fish are at though, honestly. But it's like that's where I personally like to fish in the Delta. I've got many monster bass I'll tell you right now, out of Benjamin Holt / Garlic Brothers and Lois Park have the two biggest concentration of monster fish for me. Right there in those two places, like legit, just the bourgeois bass imitation. You know it. Why do pink worms work? I think pink worms are light, the same thing as white. I think that pink, white, chartreuse, any light color worm would work. So pink works. I think a lot of different colors they work. The thing is that if you had a white worm and a pink worm, it's probably going to look very similar to a bass, and you probably could have caught the bass on either or. I think it will fit into a category of colors, right? So pink will definitely work. Like I was saying, all colors will work. You'll catch fish on blue and they don't see blue at all, but they see it, but it's not like it's invisible. So when I say the fish don't see it, what I mean is they don't see it as a color. They see it as a shade. So how humans, we're trichromatic. So we see a combination or blend of 3 colors, and that from that we can see thousands of colors. Bass can only see a combination of 2, so they're probably limited to more like hundreds of colors, right? But even then, or or variations of those colors. But even then, they've shown that pretty much a red and green, and then those strong categories of not. So what I mean is not like a super blend of the two or something. The bass are very good at selecting their targets and hitting them, and in that study. And so, like I said, the dark or light. So pink would fall into a light. So it's not the color thing; it's more of the shade thing. That makes sense. Yep. Yep. Calaveras is good. The boat club is good. I'll tell you guys right now. I'm gonna give you my gold. So if you go back there, Apothecary Cove, the point of Smith Canal, and Lois Park, right there. When you launch, right after the launch, where there's people sitting on that point, and they're always fishing right there, right as you launch. That whole point is loaded with 2 and 3 pound bass usually, and crankbaiting and jigging, and the rocks works there or bottom bouncing. If you go directly across, right across that canal, that big point with the two poles that stick up right there, you get in between the poles and the shoreline, you work a crankbait right along that edge, you get them. You'll see the big weed patch that's there, kind of like a lightning bolt looking, because the point, the way that Lois Park, there's two poles right there at Smith Canal, and then it kind of, there's that rocky shoreline, and then it kind of juts in like this, and then wraps around. So there's a weed edge you can crankbait and fish off the edge of it. Then you can get right up shallow where the tules are at, and then where the weeds are at. And there's about 1.5 to 2 foot lane of open water that's about 3 to 5 feet deep, or 2 to 5 feet deep, depending on water level. And there will always be fish sitting there. Or if you throw lures in there and they're in the weeds, they'll come out into there. So you have to make multiple casts sometimes, but 3 to 5s out of there. Nothing over 5 usually off that point. Then when you go to launch out at the main from Lois Park, and there's a big like sand or grass bar that goes all the way across, and there's that big channel mark right there. And there's that long point of like of lily, or not lily, but tules. That tule point, we got an 11 pounder right off the point. And then in that grass, jerk bait 5 to 7 pounders and crankbait 5, monsters, big striper, largemouth. Then if you go right over that and you go down the main, you can get 2 to 3 pounders all day. And then once you get up by the Navy ship and the Rod and Gun Club, and on that big rock and the steep wall, there are a lot of big fish in those docks and stuff. And then the drop off on the main channel where it goes down to 20 something feet, a lot of big fish will hang on that drop off. And guys don't fish out there in boats. They frog fish and shallow fish. You pull off and you fish where it goes from 6 to 8 and it drops down into the 20s. There's a lot of monster bass that move up and down right there. And when they're not up shallow, they're right there. And then if you shoot down and where the San Joaquin comes in on the right, there's a big shipping point, right, with all the big ships. Well, if you go in there real slow like and you get back inside of there, it's one monstrous rocky point with big old boulders, and then there's a shoreline like a 1/4 mile long of just rocks and boulders, huge ones, and all kinds of crap in the water too that you can hit too, even just slowly. So you got, if the tide's low, so you got to watch it, pull out a little far at certain places. But crankbaits and stuff, oh, we kill it. We get 5+ pounders off that point almost every time. But all the double digits come inside that place called Apothecary Cove. If you launch from Lois Park and you go past Smith Canal, before you go out onto the main, you make that right. And inside, there's like an L shape like this, and there's docks and houses that line both sides. When you get to the very end, Smith Canal is right there, and there's a driveway that goes across. That place right there is kicked out multiple double digits, monsters. I'm talking huge ones. And then if you go shoot down the main and you head to Benjamin Holt, Garlic Brothers, multiple monsters, double digits and 8 pounders out of there. So can't recommend it enough. Fools be always down there by Frank's Track. We gotta go to Mildred, gotta go to Frank's Track. Sucker, you can have that part of the Delta. Give me my beloved area and I'll just stick to it, and sometimes it sucks because the fish do head down there. Discovery Bay and all that, it can be some awesome fishing. But my little stomping grounds right there in Stockton, I kill it, catch a lot of big fish. The last few years, they haven't been there, though. So I think they're coming back, though. Let's just say that. Because it's not about the spot. There's a reason big fish are there. So let's just put it that way. There's a reason all those spots we've caught, double digits and multiple 8s. There's special water. And then if maybe for a year or 6 months the bass aren't there, they're moving around and whatever, trust me, they'll be back. Those specific spots all hold mondos, huge ones. And I know many more, so there's many other places down there we like to go just murk them. Windmill Cove and, all these different little cuts and washes that when you're headed towards Ben Holt on the right that are awesome to fish. Mildred is pretty cool to fish. Down by Lost Isle, some stuff like that. If you even smash, like you keep going towards Frank's Track, There's a couple nice places on the right. So I don't know. I love the Delta. It's a good place. I think I need to get back out there and fish more to put some bigger fish on the channel for you guys and gals. But there's nothing like catching big fish out of these mother lode lakes. It's really awesome. So that's why I've been after them. And it's super hot, so I've been doing that night fishing. I know I've been on a lot of trips that if I had been during the daytime, I probably could have made some cool videos for you guys and gals. But the night trips aren't as entertaining, in my opinion, because you can't see the beautiful scenery, this and that. But they're educational, and hopefully you guys will get out there and catch some of your PBs and catch some monsters by night fishing and by doing some of the tips and tricks. Get out there. Don't be afraid to night fish, because that's when the true monsters come out. In my opinion, you can catch them during the daytime too, obviously, but at nighttime is, you know what I mean? And that's our kind of segue into the second topic is, what lures catch big fish? Well, duh. Crankbaits, spinner baits, jigs, jerk baits, reaction, just all power fishing basically is how you get big fish. You can get them with drop shots, you can get them with Ned rigs, and you can get them finesse fishing. And that is awesome and fun to do too. And there's specific times and places. Especially, here's another thing is if the target, so here's what I want you to think about too, is if the target zone or strike zone that you're going for is extremely small, and you believe there's big fish holding in certain areas, like you're in a dock, you're in a slip, you're right amongst, there's like a big boat here and a dock there, and you got like this stretch of 2 or 3 feet, and the wind, got this perfect little zone. Finesse fishing can kill it, because if you take a reaction, you don't have enough time to draw that strike out. You make 100 casts, you might get them to eat, but you might also scare them because you might pull them out to the boat eventually. But if there is potentially a big fish holding there and you pitch a bottom bouncer, a finesse, a jig, a Ned rig, drop shot, I don't care, and you work it very slowly and you take your time, you might get that big fish to fall for an easy meal. Because even though, let's say at that moment, if that fish was in a better position or sitting in a better reach where you could cast past it and bring your lure reaction alongside it, then it might really hammer your crankbait or spinnerbait or what have you. But in those certain little areas where you've got like this little bucket sized zone where there's like all this crap right here, like a dock or this or that, and you pitch a little bottom bouncer, a little weightless Senko, something like that in there, that's really clutch, is especially at the Delta and even at the big lakes. If you can learn to look at the shoreline and then like break it down into like little quads or zones, like this is where there should be a bass, and then pitch to that a bunch of times, and then this is where there should be, and then pitch. Then if you see stuff that don't look good, I mean, you can fish at it, but you waste time, right? Especially if you have your fish finder on, or your lake, your map, the area. You're like, okay, well, this is where all the structure is at. This is a plain shore. Maybe there's a fish or two holding on to 1 or 2 rocks there, but there may be a big school here, right? So same kind of principle. And when you go to fish the lakes, right, same just like the Delta, if you've got the big lane and you can rake a crankbait or spinnerbait across something, great. But if you see like this big boulder with a shade line and there's like wind blowing across it and you can roll your crank, but you can't get there, and you think there's like a big boulder overhang, there's shade in the water, but it's real tight, it's a couple feet maybe, yada yada, throw your little drop shot or your little Senko right up against that rock and let it, and there could be a monster sitting there waiting to ambush a trout or something, and just not coming out after your cranks, or your lures, because of your boat positioning or what have you, may be too far away. Or again, you may actually get that fish to come out, follow your lure, see you at your trolling motor, and now that fish is completely gone. But if you feel there was a big fish there, you could have tossed your jig or something right up against that rock and that shade line and potentially got it. So it's also, I think, important to know to use what lure when, if you can. So finesse fishing is awesome, has its place, as well as bottom bouncing, but I think, in my opinion, the biggest ways to get big fish in most fisheries are going to be your jigs, for bottom bouncing is going to be crankbaits and spinner baits for your reaction, and top water and stuff like that, So now there's lots of different lures they come off of, obviously, a jerk bait, an LV 500, whatever have you. But those are all big fish catching lures. You kind of know it. You don't expect to catch a mondo on a Ned rig, but you can. You don't expect to catch a mondo on a drop shot, but you can. And so that's where, again, fish sometimes will make us look like fools, right? Oh, we think we know it all. Blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, you get out and pull a 10 on a little dinky 2-inch, Berkeley Gulp drop shot or something, right place, right time. But that's where time on water helps. The more you fish, the better you're going to get. So simple as that. How's it going, Marco? Oh, yeah. Nighttime brings the hogs out. Yep, the mouth of Smith Canal is great. Bass fishermen use bubble gum. Trout fishermen use pink. I like that one. That was a good saying. Thanks for watching, guys and gals. Smash that like if you get a chance. Sorry I missed on Friday's live stream, so wasn't able to make it. I was working my butt off. All right. For those of you listening instead of watching, just pounded a beer. I think I want to get another one. I've got a long day ahead of me tomorrow, so more stuff to fix. Woohoo! Would I rather fish full moon or new moon? Oh, that is an epic question, because I've had great times both. I've had times where the full moon, they say that the 3 days, or the day before, like the few days before, during and after a full moon are the best. And then the few days before, during and after a new moon are the best. There's been times when I've gone out there and, excuse me, slayed them on a full moon. And then there were times when I couldn't buy a bite on a full moon. But my recent double digit came about 4 days or 3 days before a full moon. And it was a bright, nice 3/4 moon out when I got my recent double digit. I lost about a 12+ pounder many years ago, also during a bright full moon. My other double digit was during a new moon, pitch black. So I got more big fish, I think, during full moons than I do new moons. But so full moon, like a night fishing full moon, you can see better. So like you can tell the shore a lot better. So it's more comfortable to fish in a full moon. If your eyesight's good, you don't even need a headlamp. Full moon fishing, you can sit on the deck of your boat and tie your lures if you stare, hard enough at it and you have it close enough. You don't need any light. You can see the shore plain as day. You can just, full moon is more comfortable, and I think it is probably a little bit more productive. I'm not really honestly sure on that, though, because I've done really well during new moons, too. I think that there's probably some other underlying factors that may involve when they're better, like dependent on if they're like in a lethargic kind of settled down on the bottom way. I think a new moon is probably better than a full moon, because if the bass have no light to see and they're being lazy and they're just kind of chilling, if you're bottom bouncing, I think that you probably can trick that fish a lot easier than if it can see you and it's spooked or it doesn't, depending on its mood. But if they're super active and they're smashing around and you're destroying them, probably a full moon is going to be better. I mean, honestly, I don't know. That's just being honest. A good question, though. But I think I'd probably rather fish a full moon. So I do know the answer. I don't know which one's better. So I would prefer to fish during a full moon than a new moon, simply for my comfort level of like not wanting to smash into stuff with the boat. Driving at the lake at night, the moon is so much more light for you to see. If you use a searchlight, a spotlight, or a headlamp, you will blind yourself. You will notice you can only see a few feet in front of the boat. There almost will always be like this foggy, like uh, substance to the dark above a lake at night. It will look like almost fog because whether it's winter or summer, it's almost always like that. Or at least in the summer, I noticed when you're driving at night, there seems to be like if you hit your flashlight at nighttime in the summer and you're driving, or even if you're just slowly going, it seems like you can only see so far. Like the lake is evaporating, or like there's like a slight denseness to the air that the light refracts off of or catches. But when you have the light off and it's pitch black, but you have that full moon, that bright light, you can see all the way across the lake. Not in good detail or not, but I could literally stare across and see, all out at the main lake. So, how's it going, Marco? Yo, yo. Shout out to all my members. Look at this, is like a members live stream. I'm gonna have to do a members live stream only next time, huh? And just a shout out to you members. Maybe like a pull out my tackle and talk stories and show you guys like all my real favorite lures, like what I would really use, like what spinner bait, what brand, what blades, like what jig, what trailer, what crankbait, what color, what time of year. I know you guys have probably all seen that, but maybe break it down in one video or do it just for you guys and gals, because I got the coolest members in the world. Look at you guys. You guys are awesome. So I want to say thank you to you guys and gals. I like doing this live stream. Hopefully the channel will grow one day and the YouTube algorithm gods will catch on, and, we'll start getting some growth there. But, and also for you guys and gals that may not be aware, I've got another YouTube channel called Common Sense Talks. Excuse me. Where it's a much more diverse channel. It's super small, but I haven't uploaded there in a while. I think I'm going to go play around and upload there Tuesday. So if you miss me here and you want to hang out again, feel free to come jump in. I'll probably live stream Tuesday on that channel. I don't have many viewers, so sometimes there's not many people hanging out and I'm just yapping at a camera. But it is what it is. So like I said, I've got a cool heating and air video. That might one day go viral, huh? I've got a cool video on how to nitrogen braze, and I'm super good at it. So like I show how to set it up. I show what the PSI could be or should be in your nitrogen tank, your oxygen tank, your acetylene tank, how to set up your gauges, how the direction of the flow goes, taking the Schrader cores out, protecting all the piping and special components, explaining why there's rubber, like O-rings and gaskets and things that can only take up to so many degrees before they will melt. And so like explaining why I run my torch hot so that I can braze quicker, because if your torch is like medium or your heat isn't that high, then you have to hold it on the pipe longer in order to heat that area up. And then once you start brazing, it takes longer. You have less likelihood of blowing a hole through, but the heat will transfer farther down the pipe because it has to go long. So if you braze hot, then you just get that section of the pipe hot and it doesn't get to spread as fast, because as soon as you're done, it's over with and you can cool the pipe down before it spreads any further. You protect portions of areas with wet rags, all this cool stuff. So I do some cool tutorial. I wear it on my head. You guys get to see me actually braze. I do like 8 joints like this super fast. I barely use like this much of my stick. I'm just like a machine with it. So it's pretty cool. I think we're going to do like a couple videos. One, we're going to do like a how to nitrogen braze video and just release that solo. Then we're going to do like installing an AC and then put that up there. Hopefully we'll get some views and stuff off that. But I figured I'll keep that off of this channel so I don't annoy you guys. But if you're interested in that, I figured why not let you guys and gals know, hey, something kind of techie, sciencey, just something different. If you ever caught yourself on the shitter watching or, wherever, watching a random video and you were interested in it, and then at the end you thought to yourself, like, How did I just end up watching a video about ants? Or you know what I mean? Or whatever. And if you notice, it's got 2 million views. You know what I'm saying? Because the algorithm knows. So one of these days, we're going to catch the algorithm wave and ride it, right? Hopefully. When did you and Virgil go to Russo's? Oh, man. Last time we went to Russo's was when I did the video. What was it? Having fun on the California Delta. So probably like a week and a half ago, something like that. And I seen like a 6 to 8 pounder for sure. There was a monster there, and I think my slip up was putting myself in the square bill box. And I would only throw the square bill, and I was covering water too fast, and only throwing 2 to 3 cast spots instead of like 6 or 7 type things to try to draw fish and get them to, you know, 'cause sometimes you got to make multiple casts. And I was just moving, and I pulled right up on this big beast. She was just cruising, and then you could tell like she didn't see me at first, and I go, and then I stop, and then like I noticed the moment she notices me, like she like kind of twitches. You see like her head, like almost like her head, like she looked like this. I was like, and then her swimming sped up just a little bit, just a little, you know, and then she changed directions like she wasn't doing. I already knew I had spooked her. I tried hella hard to catch her, but not hella. Tried for like 5 minutes. I was like, eh, where'd she go? I was casting all around, backed off, casting ahead, casting behind, casting in the middle, casting all around, trying to get her. You know, I couldn't get her, but I spooked her. That was my dumb fault. Oh well. But we had a good time. So that was a great little video. But I plan on doing a lot more fishing. Like I said, I still will take the boat fishing, even though it's taking on water, but that will affect how I take it, right? So if I do go on a trip, like say someone really wanted to fish with me, right? Well, I'll take you, but don't expect I'm gonna be gung ho to run around with a boat that's taking water on. You know, I'll be glad to go. I just have to be mindful, hit the bilge. I'll putt around and fish in small little areas, but that's kind of what I've been stuck in for the last few months because ever since I hit and destroyed my prop, I can't get my boat over 45 miles an hour, even though I can get it on plane just the prop's a different pitch, so I need to get the other prop so I can go 50. And like also the boat just felt better with that prop, so I'm gonna have to reorder a new prop, do all that crap still. And you know, temporary, I still got one that works, but I don't like the way my boat rides in the water with it. And then there's the issue of it taking on water, so that just is another little thing that eats at you. But even then, I don't mind hitting the bilge every once in a while, but I don't want to rot my boat from the inside out. So I got to get that taken care of. Then the other thing is the stupid live well don't work right now. So it's like, oh, because I want to go get into tournaments and fish some tournaments, show you guys and gals I actually can fish like okay, go win a couple checks hopefully. You know, and it might take a minute for me to get back in the groove of it, matching all my stuff up right, getting my line and my gear set up right, but and taking it much more seriously, doing less like funky fun fishing and just get out there and hammer them. And when I do that, you can always expect my videos will come out after my tournaments, so always will be delayed. And then if I pre-fish for a tournament, that video will not come out until after at least the tournament starts. And then when I do the tournament, that video will be after those videos. So there'll be a bit of a delay because again, I'm not going to, it's not that I think, you know, it's just like, it doesn't make sense to fish in tournaments and actually spend, you know, $100 on the entry fee and $60 on gas and $40 on food and be $200 and some dollars in on a tournament to just blast to everybody exactly where and what you're going to be fishing. So, you know, I will tell everybody where and what exactly, you'll see it, but maybe like the day after. You know, that's if I'm going to be fishing in these circuits. If not, I might go out and pre-fish for you then, right? So I'll go out and I'll have fun and I'll fish and I'll just report how it goes. And hopefully you guys can go, you know, have a good time and bank off of that or start off of that at least. It's cool to at least have a starting point. You know, you head out to the lake and you're like, okay, what should I start with? Well, there's a big old famous saying, fish the moment. So, of course, what time of year is it? What time of day is it? Clouds, no clouds, wind, no wind. Go out there and do it like fishing says you should do, I guess, or whatever you're comfortable doing, and then adjust from there. Are you killing it? Then rinse and repeat. Keep doing what you're doing. Are you not? Well, maybe time to do something different, right? So not that complicated. That's where I think we give them too much credit. Fish are just these little fish. I think luck does play a good amount in sometimes, but yeah, it is skilled knowing what end of the lake they're going to be in, you know, because there are bass habits that you can learn. They're going to help you tremendously if you learn things about like the thermocline. If you learn that during the summer below the thermocline, there's really not a lot of oxygen and there's not a lot of fish that'll be down there. And if there are, they usually go down for a moment, come back up type thing. Thermocline usually separates where the fish hang out. They're usually going to be above it in the summer. Then there's, different factors. So like, just learning those is going to help tremendously. Knowing about lakes and how they operate, snow melt, fresh water when it rains and storms, how it comes in through the creeks and cuts and washes and different things, and just learning bass's general behavior. Yes, that's not luck. That's a lot of skill. So knowing what end of the lake to be on, what the bass generally should be doing at that time of year or day, that all comes with fishing. The more you fish, the better you're going to get at that. And it is kind of a science. And there's a lot of guys that are willing to share their information about it. And I do as well. I share mine. But again, I always say I'm not a pro, I'm not a guide, because I'm sure sometimes I may think something and it may be technically wrong, as far as like, you may think, bass, oh, well, blue, well, technically they don't see blue. I mean, it's just a shade to them. It's not a color. They see red and green, and then versions of those, but blue, not so much, right? So interesting stuff, but hey, doesn't mean I won't ever throw a blue worm. Hell no, of course I will. I've got a black and blue jig right here. And even though this black and blue may be exactly like the same thing as a black, I don't necessarily think so, because close, but I don't think so. I think there may be a difference between the two, because, for example, if they see shade, right, well, this all looks black to them, but this is a slightly lighter version. So when they see this pitch black in there, that's black. Then when they see the black with the blue, it's like black with a stripe of gray through it, if that makes sense, right? Less black. So it's not quite as black like this head. This may appear black to a fish, but it won't appear as black as this black skirt, if that makes sense. This would be like a lighter version of it, So anyways, thank you guys and gals for watching and hanging out with me tonight and discussing colors, big fishing lures, lures that catch big fish. And again, apologize for missing Friday's live stream. That was a tough day. I was doing an install, so hopefully this week we're not going to miss any. But I do heating and air conditioning, so in the summer you never know how things are going to go. But if I usually miss them, I try to make them up to you guys and gals. This weekend, again, I was busy doing an AC install, so I wasn't able to, shoot a live stream for you guys. But I did think about you. I did record a video, but again, it is on how to install an air conditioner. I don't know if you like it or not, but I figure I'll put that out on the internet, and I'm going to put that over on my other channel, Common Sense Talks. And like I said, if you guys want to see more of me, catch me on that other channel. I plan on doing more videos and more content on there. I think I only got like 30 or so subscribers. So, but hence why I haven't put a lot of time and effort into it. But if you don't, then it's not going to grow, right? If you don't water it, it's not going to grow. So you got to water it. Hence, I got to water it. All right, folks, I'll be right back. Give me a second. Just got to go use the outdoor facility right here. Got caught on the door. Oh, goodness, that's a good one. Oh, I love my dad. I love my pops. Oh, goodness, folks. All right. Thanks for bearing with me. All right. Had to go use the restroom. Oh, that AC feels good. I got my little AC on the wall right there. Speaking of which, so, but yeah, how you guys doing tonight? Hopefully everybody's doing good in the house. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. It was a scorcher out here in California. So if you're not in California, goodness, God, it's been crazy. So, RC is supposed to be the 15th and the 18th. That's in a couple days, huh, buddy? I don't know if you're still watching. If RC Creative, if you're still on, aren't we supposed to hang out sometime this week, right, buddy? I'll make sure I don't schedule any work the 15th through the 18th. So keep it open for us. So me and RC Creative are supposed to go on a trip if he makes it here, if everything goes through. You know, I'll take him out. We'll go fishing. But hey, that's how life is sometimes, right? Your boat just sinks. I don't want to sink, but I ever tell you guys a story about how I almost sunk my other boat at Clear Lake? Oh, that was scary as shit. Scariest thing I ever done in my life was Clear Lake in 2000 and 2016 or 15. It was the craziest thing in my life. Or it might have been after that, 2000 and I don't know, somewhere in there, 2014, 15, something like that. I don't remember, but it was nuts. Clear Lake almost killed my ass. I did sink. I sunk on the trailer. I was so flipped out. My bilge wasn't working, and I was taking on water bad, and I was on the other side of the lake, and I drove all the way across to get to my launch, and I pull up with just water sloshing where my feet's at, and the boats just won't barely move. And I pull it up and I tie it up to the dock and I run and I go get my truck and I back it down, and I get the boat and I start it up, again, and I get it onto the trailer. And literally, as I'm pulling, I put the trailer in hella deep. Literally, as I'm pulling onto the trailer, like my ass end starts sinking like this, and I gun it, and I get up onto there, and I'm just barely sitting, like, oh no, like I almost feel like the boat wanting to slip and just sink. And I run up, I jump in the water, I grab the little winch, and I run up and I get it to the boat, and I attach it. And I swear that thing was so heavy, I almost snapped the strap, but I slowly winched that thing on and then got it most of the way. And then I pulled it out of the water with probably another 2 feet still. And the boat was it was like hanging loose. And I drug it up and I let it drain for like 10, 20 minutes or almost like a half hour or something. And then I put it back in and then winched it back up. And then I got out and I said my prayers, said, thank you, God. And oh my God, that was the craziest experience. The whole time on the way back, I was saying, oh, please, God, I don't want to die. There was 5 and 6 foot waves, and it was craziest weather I ever been out there in like the winter all by myself. I didn't have nobody with me, no friends, because me and a buddy were supposed to go where we go on our birthday trip, and he canceled and he couldn't go, and I had already set everything up. I was like, screw that, I'm going. And I was hella stubborn. And I went, and the first day I did good. I caught like 20 fish. I had fun. And then I was like, second day, there's hell no. I come out, there's like 40-mile-an-hour winds. I'm like, oh, I'm like, I'm not gonna just because I had to be back to go to work the next day, so it was like a whole day just wasted. I'm like, hell no. So I took the boat out knowing I shouldn't have. 5 and 6 foot rollers right after the ramp. And I'm just like, should I do it? And yep, I'm done. Yep. Your big issue is hull and the motor. The motor is very important, and you need to make sure there's no cracks or anything by the jack plate. Inspect the jack plate area. Look for any stress cracks, pressure cracks where the motor is mounted to the back of the boat on an older boat. That's what you also want to make sure so your motor don't rip off on you and you sink out in the middle of the lake. Um, your motor is super important, the hull, but again, look at the back by the jack plate and where the motor attaches. Any stress or pressure cracks is a bad sign, especially on fiberglass, well, anything for that matter. You shouldn't see it on aluminum really, but warping or something. So that's stuff you want to look for. Depends what kind of boat you got. I'm no boat pro. You guys probably know more than me. I'm a dude that just goes out and has a good time fishing. I could tell you a lot about all the fishing I've done over 30 years. And there's some stuff I'm not that quite, the pro at, let's say, but we're getting there. And the cool thing is you guys get to learn as I learn. So I've done videos about my boat. I've done videos about like the accidents I've had, how I almost sunk it. So when I screw up, I try to take you guys along for the ride so I can show you, hey, don't do this. Hey, don't hit the delta right here. Watch out, folks. I'll get on the map and I'll be like, don't do it. And sure enough, there's always somebody that did it, right? Has to go and do it anyways. That's me sometimes. The little red button that says do not push, and I'm just smiling, super ear to ear grin, looking at everybody who's like, no, no, no. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Push the button. Oh, you get better as you get older, I guess. But when I was a kid, I sucked at that really bad. If the button said don't push, it got pushed. I can hear people coming in and out. See, I knew it.
Hi.
So,
Yeah, tomorrow morning, can you help me with that windshield, or you have to work?
yeah, I got you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, love you.
Love you too.
There's Pops photobombing. Well, not really photobombing, but I knew someone was coming in. I said, I hear you. Oh, that's not me. I looked at my computer screen, and there's a fly on my computer screen right here. And it looks huge. Like, it looks like it's giant. And I seen it real quick. I looked over and I was all like, what the hell is on me? It's on the screen. You guys can't see it. That was funny. Anyways, oh, folks, we're almost done for the night. It's what, 8:45? Anybody got any topics, any questions, anything they want to talk about? I think keeping it real, we've got another giveaway to announce in the Bass Fishing Lovers page, but I think we're going to wait until the current one closes. We can stoke some interest and maybe show what the prizes are going to be, but so we've got something cool coming around the corner for our Bass Fishing Lovers page, the Facebook group that I started. It's at like 4.6 or 4.7 thousand right now. So that thing has just been blowing up. So I'm thinking when we get to like 7 or 10 or something, we have a really nice giveaway we're gonna do, and we're gonna close the current one. So funny how you got 4,000 subs and there's only like 100 people entering the giveaway, like suckers. Like, I don't know if they understand, like, it's legit, they just sign up to post their YouTube videos or something. It's like, all right, cool. All you had to do is hit like and then leave a comment, right? Wasn't that hard, but Pretty cool little group though. I like getting on there on Bass Fishing Lovers. You see guys arguing about the size of fish, like in a joking manner. That's like one of the themes of the group seems to be lately. Guys posting pictures like, I don't have a scale, guess the weight. Oh, everybody's having fun with those guys. So if you don't know the weight, you don't know the weight, right? I'm going to learn to just shut my mouth to stop guessing. It is what it is. Unless you have a scale, it's a fishy. Here it is. Check it out. So that's why I got 2 scales on my boat now. Don't leave home without it. And you better believe if I fish from shore now too, I got a portable one I take with me. I'm like, I am not getting caught without a scale again. Shit, I even was thinking about getting the old-fashioned analog one, like, where you pull on it. And it's like, that way there's no batteries, there's no, it's just like, here's what it is. Might be a few ounces off, but I'll take it. Anyways, thank you guys and gals for watching tonight. Appreciate everybody hanging out for the live stream. Again, sorry we missed Friday. So we're going to be back on Wednesday. Again, another one Friday. And, just like always, if we miss one, I try to come back the next day. So, for example, if I miss a Monday, you might see me Tuesday. Miss a Wednesday, you might see me Thursday. Miss a Friday, you might see me Saturday or Sunday. However, this weekend I wasn't able to have a live stream because I was installing another air conditioning unit. That makes 2 in the course of 3 days. So a lot of work I've been doing, circuits, electrical, breakers, all kinds of stuff, running line sets, coils, condensers, brazing, nitrogen brazing, having a good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's little talk about colors. Do they matter? And also, some of the lures that we catch big bass with. Obviously, you guys know me with my square bills, spinnerbait, topwater jigs. I'm super sold on those LV 500s, jerk baits. Obviously, big swim baits work, wake baits, all that good stuff. So, they're kind of obvious that reaction, even if it's done slowly, can catch monster bass. And so does finesse. Don't sleep on finesse. It's just when and where to use what, and whatever is your strength or what you prefer to do. And each environment is different. So you may want to use one tool at one lake and then a completely different one at another. So no 2 bodies of water are going to be 100% the same to you. So, you made it through your first night team club tournament Saturday and didn't do bad. 2nd place and 2nd big fish. Nice. Good job, brother. See? I might go out and totally bomb it, and everybody, hey, there's Common Sense Fishing. What place is he in? He's towards the end, middle of the pack. You never know. I don't care. I fish and I love having fun, but I'm not bad. I've got a few trophies myself, so I like getting out there and swinging for the fences and having a good time. I just need to get myself dialed back in, but that is a great job for you, buddy. 2nd place with 2nd big fish. That's a hell of a good start to your, getting back into your first night team club tournament. So night fishing is not easy. There's a lot of nuances to it, a lot of tricks. It's so hard realizing where the hell the fish is at, where the net's at, how do I net this thing, and what's all in my way, and oh goodness, and they're jumping and splashing, and you don't even know. It could be a 10-pounder, you think it's a 2-pounder. Could be a 2-pounder, you think it's a 10-pounder. If your drag's not set right and it's pulling all hard, all kinds of hilarity and befoodleness will happen at nighttime. It's pretty interesting and fun, for sure, to say the least. So congratulations, though, to Curtis. Good job. And also congratulations keeping it real. You got your 10-pounder out there. So hopefully you guys have many more big fish to come. Get out there and just keep the lines wet, keep the lines tight. You guys know the rules, guys and gals. So, again, I'm more than happy to hang out for a little bit extra. Otherwise, we're approaching that 9 o'clock time. But as always, like I said, we leave the floor open to you guys and gals. Any questions, topics, anything you guys want to talk about, feel free to shoot the breeze with me. So this is our time. So thank you guys for watching Common Sense Fishing. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. And as always, don't forget, we'll see you guys on Wednesday and Friday as well. I can't wait to work on that air conditioning video. Actually, I'm kind of stoked about that. I never really filmed myself at work before, and I thought, you know what, why not? So customer was cool with it, so I walked around with a GoPro on my head all day in 110-degree weather, sweating crazy. Not all day, because the GoPro got super hot. Like, my head would get hecka hot. I had to take it off. And then when I did the attic, I only recorded like a little bit of that. I even tell the camera, I'm sorry, guys, I have to turn you off. There's like sweat dripping in my eyes. I'm like dying. I'm like, oh God, I can't do this. I'm going to have to do the work. And I show you guys after. Look at what it looks like. Look how pretty. But not easy job doing heating in there. Thank you for watching, for sure. Keeping it real. Appreciate everybody tonight. Marco, Curtis, keeping it real. Charles, RC, all the others, anybody else watching right now. Really appreciate everybody. It's pretty cool. Look at how all the names right there, like everybody's a member. Bank Bassin on the weekends, appreciate your participation and asking a good question. So thanks to everybody who's participated in tonight's live stream. Again, I apologize for missing Friday, but you guys stay tuned. Keep watching. I hope to have a lot of better content coming soon. Once I get a little bit of this work out the way, get the boat situated. I'm excited to hopefully be doing some more tournament fishing next year. At the end of this year, we're going to be doing some. But I actually want to get, excuse me. Woo! Yeah, baby, that was a good one. I want to get involved with some full-on circuit fishing, like Future Pro Tour, maybe BBT or something like that, and fish the entire circuit, go for Angler of the Year, the classics, all that good stuff. Try to get in on the big stuff. Have a good time. Take you guys through, show you what a rush it is to fish an entire series, like as if you're like a football team, and every tournament's points. You got the Angler of the Year. You got, best. There's a lot of little things that they do too. The Future Pro Tour, BBT, is a lot of cool circuits out there. Some people have preferred circuits over others. Honestly, I just want to get out there and have some fun and see if I can, compete with the bigger boys and get out there. But I want to make sure that I'm 100% full steam when I do it. Because last year I did some tournaments. This year I did a few. And I think I like being the captain of the boat. And I think I like fishing solo a lot more, honestly. Maybe just a less experienced angler, actually, just more as a net man and back up to catch some fish here and there. That way I either live or die by my decisions. I usually do pretty good when I fish like that. When you don't take have a lot of input coming at you and you can just formulate and think. I don't know. So I'm hoping to get out there and really dial in my gear, dial in my lures, and show you guys, hopefully this next upcoming year, a nice, cool, wild ride through some of these circuits, and where we go and we get motel rooms and we have a lot of fun, and we go to casinos and stuff sometimes, and a lot of the friends and guys will go up, and we go up together in groups, and we fish these tournaments and hang out and have a good time. So there's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of fun times involved as well, not just fishing. So hopefully get to show you guys what it's like from the inside on a cool tournament trail, and that should be interesting in itself. All the cool stuff that goes on with that, the sponsors, the gigs, the dinners, and the special tournaments, the classic, the speeches, the food and dinners, the fun stuff that you do. Hopefully they have that stuff this year again with the COOF. I know last year and a half has been real crazy. So I'm looking forward to getting back to normal and having a good time, and bring you guys and gals along for the ride. And you know, get some more double digits too after some monsters. So I want to rack double digits up on this channel, as many as we can get. So I'm gonna go for some big girls. So I'm kind of changing my tune from numbers to size for my fun fishing. So you guys might notice more videos where I'm not catching as many numbers. So I may decide, you know what, I don't have any big fish today. Let's throw a drop shot or Ned rig and let's salvage today's trip and let's have a good time. Otherwise, I might be, out there just, you know, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking, bro. 209 Bassin. Just going after some of the bigger fish and targeting bigger fish, because for the longest I've kind of, I think in my head, had this mentality that I need, because I don't make much money on YouTube at all, right? Barely any, like maybe 60 to 80 bucks a month right now. Sometimes $100 a month, whatever. But the thing is like a fishing trip costs $100, just one of them. So I get in my mind where I have to like catch fish for you guys in order to make a decent video, so that I get dialed in on trying to catch fish necessarily than catch the big fish, because numbers isn't the same thing as size, right? And so I think that's one thing I know how to do very well, but you guys have not maybe seen me do much of the last year and a half. So I think, yeah, that it'll hopefully help the channel grow. Two different things: going after big fish and tournament fishing, where I get a little more serious, a little bit more professional, but at the same time on these live streams, we just chill and having a good time, right? So I'm always going to be me. I'm never going to BS or like cover a turd in a shiny blanket, pig in a blanket. It's just what it is, right? I'm a hot dog dude, not a pig in a blanket. Just give me a bun and throw some ketchup and mustard or relish on there, right? I'm not a corn dog eater. So I keep it real, and like it is what it is. So I want to get out there and hopefully big fish, tournament fish, and then these live streams. Bring you guys, the real content, the real me as far as on these live streams, good interaction, perfect way for the community to chat and BS with each other. But on my main uploadable content, I really want to get focused on, like I said, the three big things. I need to get up to the Sierra Nevadas. I want to do some smallmouth fishing and get into some other waters. So I want to go other places that guys don't go, and tournament fishing and big fishing. So less numbers, more quality, exotic places, and tournaments. That's what the channel is going to be focusing on soon. So you might see a little bit less content, but I'm going to try to make quality content. What I mean by that is true quality content, where I'll sit down and try to edit the videos longer, and I don't mean the video is going to be longer, but put more time and effort into thumbnail creation, titles, into some text and effects, into breaking down and transitioning scenes, hopefully a little better, and producing a better story and a better trip for you guys, if you know what I'm saying. So big fish, exotic places, and tournaments. That's what I'm super stoked to try to do next. When I say exotic places, I want to go ocean fishing, surf fishing, crabbing, and then I want to go Sierra Nevadas, small mountain fishing, in the boat, hopefully, smallmouth, and then maybe even some stream and smallmouth fishing in rivers and things like that. Like Bryceburg, I like deeper, faster water where I can use some little finesse jigs and things, and some rooster tails and other things, and not just get brook trout and trout, but you actually can get smallmouth out of those places. So we'll go around and have some fun, take you guys on some beautiful scenery, so there's a lot of cool plans. Hopefully we'll get the drone, get to take off into the sky, fly around the Sierra Nevada, get some good footage, fish places like Lake Almanor, Scotts Valley Reservoir. So some crazy places way out in the boondocks with crystal blue water. So I'm super stoked to try to bring all that stuff to you guys and gals, but a little bit at a time. I know I've been bragging about I'm going to buy another GoPro and a mic for like a month and a half, but I did it, right? So all things come in good times, but I'm just sharing with you guys the next steps and goals of the channel. So thank you guys for watching Common Sense live stream. Smash that like button if you guys get a chance. And it's called Circuit Breaker with Mark, showing his road to the pros, Delta head fishing. Heck yeah, I'll have to go check that out. Exactly. But yeah, that's like what I'm talking about. I want to do much more stuff like that to just show more diversity as far as like that I'm not just like a lazy bum alcohol drinking fisherman dude. Like that I actually can get out there and have some fun and catch some fish and do okay. And also to prove to myself, right? And to get out there, get the rust all shooken off and take fishing seriously and improve. Well, I already do, but take it more seriously and improve my skills, improve myself as a fisherman, get better as a fisherman, and hopefully catch more bigger fish, quality fish, win some tournaments. And if I don't win some tournaments either way, maybe win a big fish check here or there. But do some good quality content, take you guys along for the ride to show what it's like to fish tournaments like that. Even if there's all these other channels out, you'll have this unique experience with me because you guys know me, and you'll have got to see me go from where we were at to where we're going. Plus, you guys know I'm a burnout. I'm funny. I have a good time. I'm like if Cheech and Chong were like professional bass anglers mixed with like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm basically 6 foot, 260 pounds. I'm not really fat. I'm not really like buff or anything, but I can bench about 250. And, I'm a funny character, I think, in my opinion. So it's like a crazy dude to come across, not a lot of folios like me, I think. And I'm always going to maintain who I am, how I roll. So hopefully the bass fishing community will accept me as I am if I do end up going places, right? And even then, remember, I always say, and this is true, I do not ever have the plan or goal of ever being a true professional bass angler as far as like tournament fishing, BASs, all that stuff. There's never too late, you're never too old, but it's not my goal. I don't want to travel across the country as a job. I don't want to be away from my family like that too much as a job. If I get to go and fish other states and other lakes and other places as a cool thing on the channel here, as a vacation thing, great. But I don't want to make that my goal is chasing, there's already enough awesome professional fishermen. I just want to develop a cool brand. I do want to win a little bit of money here and there, maybe develop some stuff, but not necessarily, I'm not trying to go like pro, I'm just maybe be a local guide one day. But heating and air is what pays the bills. And this is my passion though. And hopefully it'll go somewhere someday with your guys' help. Share these videos, let other people know, hey, there's a cool live stream that does this and that. And we don't just live stream, I have a lot of fishing content I put out. So I'm trying to have a balance. I think the live stream is more of a kind of cool hangout session where we get to all shoot the breeze. It's like a cool club. And I don't know. So hopefully we can grow this, but also like for the channel, I've really got some goals and dreams to grow it. So I'm sharing this with you guys and gals. Hopefully we'll achieve those together. So thank you guys for being part of the journey with me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. Appreciate each and every one of you, members, subscribers, viewers, everyone alike. Thank you guys for watching Common Sense Fishing. And don't forget, we'll catch you on the next one, Wednesday and Friday. And I will be on Common Sense Talks, my other channel, uploading a cool video on how to braise, how ACs are installed. And that's where I talk about news, opinion, and all kinds of crazy stuff you probably don't want to hear about when you're looking at fishing. So, but if you're interested in going down them rabbit holes, come join me on my other channel, Common Sense Talks. Otherwise, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and catch you on the next one.